Hi there, it's Kevin with the Rogue Market, here with the conclusion video to the Commander decks. We're going to talk all about value today and why I don't think that this year is any better than last year. The big question is, how well will the cards be received from the Commander 2019 new cards, because that usually is the wild card. We've seen some cards from both 2017 and 2016 skyrocket in value, like Teferi's, what's the Teferi card that allows you to phase out all your permanents for one turn. That card went up in value and then made those particular decks go up like crazy. So Commander 2018 had two things going wrong for it. A, it didn't have the reprint equity needed to really sell the set, and B, it was printed into oblivion. This was the Commander, this 2018 had a ton of supply comparatively to both Commander 2017 and Commander 2016. So with that being said, let's just take a look at the overall value of the Commander lists, compare them to Commander 2018. First, we're going to go over how exactly Commander 2018 was affected by the market. Again, this was a very low sold set comparatively to how much it was printed. You could get Commander 2018s for a long time. I think it was only up until about 2 months ago that you could quit getting this for about the distributor cost for Commander 2018. And so the thing about Commander 2018, what I want to compare to Commander 2019, is very similar. There was not much reprint equity, and we can see how the cards that get printed as new cards react once they're in the market. So let's start with Exquisite Invention. Exquisite Invention says it has about a $78 price tag, and you actually look through here, it's just nothing really stands out to actually have any real world value except for Chaos Warp that gets printed a lot. Commands about a $3 price tag. It does have the Unwinding Clock, which is the one card that does have what I consider real value in this, as well as Soul Rings, which are in everything, the Retrofitter Foundry, which is managed to go up to about $3, and Blasphemous Act, which is again a pretty decent card that they reprint very often in Commander set. In fact, there are a lack of these type of cards in Commander 2019, the ones that just hold their value and go up after they get reprinted. The rest of the cards, like I said, the mana base is very similar to what we're going to see from the new Commander sets. And when all is settled, like this probably is barely worth the $40 price tag that you're going to get on the street price for this. And it's even very tough to buy this at what we call distributor price and make a profit out of this particular deck once you piece it out. So again, a couple $2. Let's look at the new cards that are printed, like Saheeli the Gifted went all the way down to $3. If we look at the price trajectory, I'm pretty sure this will be like another $20 card what they pre-sell these for. So actually this one came out of $14. So right now the only reference we have for new cards for Commander 2019 is about from $15 to $20 on all of the cards. So when we look at the value, they're going to be very inflated, and we have to then take down where just the known information, the cards that are reprinted and what they're going at. And spoiler alert, those are overinflated right now too. So it's just a mess to try to look at the value of Commander 2019. If we go back to Commander 2018 for the Saheeli deck, again, not a lot of reprint equity in this deck. It was just Unwinding Clock that was the card that was able to go up in value or hold its value, and a bunch of the new cards like the Brutaclad Engineer went down to like bulk mythic price. Let's see some of these other ones here that were new cards. If Vidalcan Humiliator, there's another one, went down to all the way to bulk price. Varchild Betrayal of Keldor, down to basically bulk price. Even Treasure Nabber had a hard time holding its value. This is one of them that I believe was hyped from this particular deck. I think this is the good one out the gates, like the one that people thought would have value from the new cards. Subjective Reality, we did have some cards in this one, like the Aminatu, the Fate Shifter, that did hold pretty decent pre-sale prices, if I do believe. Nope, it's about $8. Yeah, $14 out the gates, and went down to $8 very quickly, and then all the way down to $4. So this is where I think these $20 cards that are printed in this Commander set are also going to be for Commander 2019. They're going to have the $20 pre-sale price, go all the way down to $4 to $5 if they just end up being pretty narrow as far as where they see play in Commander, meaning if they only see play in their own decks that they come out of, that's probably where they're going to go down to. If we go back to there was Yuriko, the Tiger Shadow. This one actually has started to go back up in value. It really went back up in value after Modern Horizons because there was Ninjas in Modern Horizons, so it went back from 9 to 15. So kind of got lucky there that it sparked a new interest in Ninja decks. Same thing, this was a $20 card comparatively, and it went down all the way to $7 very quickly after this was opened. So another card that couldn't hold its reprint equity, or couldn't hold the equity because it's not a reprint, and went down far very quickly. Other cards that were in this deck that were reprints, again, we got Soul Ring. Not a lot again. It looks like even Muldrifter, one of the better reprint cards that's been able to hold its value. Entreat the Angels got crushed. Entreat the Dead was a new card, I believe. Possibly, I can't remember if this was new in this one or if this one was. No, I think this was. Entreat the Dead was a new card. And it's actually quite a cool card with a miracle ability to return a bunch of creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. But that card could not help but get crushed when this was open, so not really adding any value there. Lord Windgrace, one of the most played commander cards in its own deck, all the way down to $4 or $5. We have the Sleeper Agent all the way down to $3. We have the Nesting Dragon, which actually sees a lot of play in various dragon decks and other landfall decks. So it goes in like Omnoth, and it goes in, I'm trying to think of the other landfall. Green, Jund one. I guess it is Lord Windgrace would be the landfall deck. Still can't really hold a decent price tag. And we did have Avenger of Zendikar that has recovered quite well. That was one of the better reprint cards for the deck. We come down to the last one, the Adaptive Enchantment. This is the one that's struggling the most. I believe this is the one that had the most expensive card in the, it's an enchantment, if I remember correctly. It was one of the enchantments that you drew. Let's see, maybe it wasn't an enchantment here. That Enchanter's Presence, yes, this was the expensive card, and it got absolutely crushed because it was just kind of a narrow application. From Onslaught, I believe this one did have a decent price tag. Around $12. So this would have been more expensive than any card so far that was spoiled for the printing of Commander 2019, and it got absolutely crushed, a third of the price of after it was in the deck. So with that out of the way, just want to prove the kind of methodology here of where I think these commander sets or cards are gonna go down to. So if we look at the value right now, we have all the cards pre-selling for about $20, with the Son of Yawgmoth being the one that is going for $30. If history is correct, this will go down to $10. And we'll have all these under $5 with the Idol of Oblivion, the Chainer especially because it's very narrow in the Rakdos colors, the Curse of Fool's Wisdom, Wildfire Devils, all these type of cards, unless that they can see play in some sort of legacy deck, and I haven't really heard anyone talk about these being played in legacy at the moment. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but these are all the new cards, and they're all sitting around all the way from $10 up to the $20 mark. And of course, that is just sellers right now that are allowed to do pre-orders on TCG Player, really just throwing it out in the wind, hoping that some people actually buy these. These are going to adjust as more people throw cards up. They're going to get undercut, and we're going to have a race to the bottom. So the first reprint that is worth any money, I believe, is the Stronic Resonator. This one is actually not going nearly the price it is. These are both overinflated. If we actually go to both like Vesuvian Shapeshifter and the Stronic Resonator and look at other copies, Time Sprawl is $1.75. Yeah, get out of here for this $10 price tag for this one. And the Stronic Resonator, same thing, can be had for $3.50 in the Masters 25. So this card is going to go down to these values and probably even more, because a card being printed is going to affect the prices of these particular cards. So the first one that I'm really looking at here is, there's just no reprint equity whatsoever in this entire set that isn't going to get completely crushed. So when Gavin says that we heard you, what'd they hear? Because Seedborn Muse, I think this one's actually right on the battle bond. Yeah, here's one that is $10 and actually going for $10. This is the most expensive reprint. I believe there was, Geth as well. So what's Geth doing right now? So if we look for Geth, it's already down to $6 on this. Let's see where it was before the reprinting. It was around $10. So this one's already adjusted, probably rightfully so for the people that are pre-selling it, with this probably going down to $3 to $4 when the dust settles. So where is the reprint equity in this set? And the short answer is it's just not there. There are goodies like Sun Titan if this card hadn't been printed like a bazillion times. Look at the list of how many times this card has been printed in high volume things like the dual deck Heroes versus Monsters, Arch Enemy Nicol Bolas, Commander 14, 15, Anthology, M11, M12. It was the promo for the pre-release event for M11 or M12, I believe. So the supply of Sun Titan is very, very high. This would be a good card if it actually wouldn't have seen so many printings, but unfortunately it's not going to get the reprint equity for this particular deck. Hooded Hydra, nope, it's not worth even close to that. A bunch of these other cards, not even close to what they think. So here's Chaos Warp, that currently the other version we just saw was $3.75. It's probably going to half the value. This one will recover. Obniculus Reunited, again, was another card out of a dual deck. This is a $2 card right now. It's going to go down even more. Den Protector 4, not even close. We have Den Protector at 85 cents. So the value is just incredibly overinflated by many of these cards. So when you actually look at the deck list, we can come over here to the Commander deck list. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. You can see that on Goldfish we have $200 decks, $250 decks, $260 decks, $300 deck for the Merciless Rage. Yep, not even close. I'm thinking the dust settles, these are going to be around the $60 to $70 total value, meaning when you add up all the 40 and 50 cent cards, this is where it's going to settle. So this is another pretty much tone-deaf fail by Wizards of the Coast. It was a huge sign when Gavin Verhey shouted out that we heard you, and then we went above and beyond this year and showcased the one card, the Seedborn Muse, that saw a substantial amount of Commander play, and it was a card that just recently got crushed because it was printed in Battle Bond as a rare, so the supply of that is still very, very high. So a lot of these cards just going down this $300 one, for example, we can cut by at least a fourth to a fifth, like the Sanctum of Eternity. That one actually might have the best chance of holding out of any. I think this is the most versatile card that can go in many Commander decks. But however, it probably will get short-term crushed. If it does get crushed down to a reasonable amount, I think this is a good one to actually pick up. So the guy who reached Sanitarium, oh, kick me now. This is a card that I owned hundreds of copies in, and I probably should have unloaded them before they got reprinted. But I think this one will actually recover quite well. Yeah, looking through these cards, though, a bunch of these cards will hold. So Sanitarium's actually going for even less than this right now, so this one's going to half in value. Warstorm Surge is going to get halved again. This Curse of Fool's Wisdom, definitely, definitely going to go way down. It seems very narrow for a curse. Yeah, this one's going to be like a $2 to $3 card. Aeon Engine, this is another one that might actually be picked up highly, but it doesn't seem to be that competitive. It reverse a turn order, then gives your other opponent that just went another extra turn, basically. And it still takes an entire turn to get back around to you. No, I guess you tap it on your opponent's turn. So at the beginning of your opponent, yeah, I don't know. Still feels kind of weird and awkward to throw into any old deck in Commander. And yeah, again, just not a lot of value. This Nightmare Unmakening feels very similar to other choice cards. Like it's just a bad Wrath. I guess you can control the Wrath effect of it. So if you have a lot of little creatures, you can have it be higher than the number of cards in your hand. But just feels very awkward. This feels like another $2 to $3 card. So this one's going to get 80% discounted. And same thing with the Devils. A lot of these type of cards is going to get. So again, even this deck, I think it might come out the highest because it does have the one sought after card and a couple of these lands that are pretty good. This one's going to be $70 to $80 range when the dust settles. We go over here to the Primal Genesis. This one doesn't really have anything at all that can hold its value. Like the Frostfang, attacking creatures have Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, but 5 mana. We see this effect on like uncommons, very similar to this sort of effect. Yes, maybe you're getting a bunch of, and it is a snow creature, that's interesting. You get a bunch of these effect on one card. Still, though, very narrow application for decks. Garrick, not going to have anything. The Fool's Flowering, this one's kind of cool with the Populate X times. Still, though, it doesn't feel like a $20 card. Feels like a $3 to $4 card. Song of the World Soul. This one, actually, I do think will have a lot more crossover to other decks. But still, I think this one probably is going to be the card that holds the most value. If history repeats itself, $8 is kind of the cap for this card. Commander's Insignia. Creatures you control +1/+1 for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone. Feels just like strictly worse than what's that other card? Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, it gets a counter, and then all your creatures get +1/+1 for each counter on it. What's the enchantment for 5 mana? It just feels like a worse version of that. This is probably going to go down to $2-3. Elemental Bond is not a $2 card. This, of course, is going to be worth nothing. And again, Our Reckoning, a bunch of these are just bulky beyond bulky. This one, I think 60 to 70 is probably going to be where it flatlines down to. And Mystic Intellect, the deck that doesn't know what it wants to be. This is just full of disappointment after disappointment in it. Many of these cards I don't think are going to be able to come close to holding their value. The Empowered Auto Generator enters battlefield, tap, put a charge counter on it, and add X mana of any one color where X number of charge counters. This feels very similar to there are other cards that actually do this already. It doesn't enter the battlefield with any charge counters on it. Yeah, so it takes a long time to start actually getting counters. Some decks that have like Unwinding Clock type decks that can actually untap and tap this, they're going to love this type of card. But there's other artifacts that exist that do very similar to this. So it's another card that I don't think is going to be anywhere near its price tag. So this one again is going to be $60 to $70. Don't see any way that it holds a higher price tag. And the Faceless Menace too. This one is the lowest valued one so far out of the mix because I think it was the first spoiled, so it's had time for people to actually put these numbers up on the pre-orders. Not a lot of cards here that have a chance of Road to return a permanent from your graveyard to your hand, or put your commander in your hand from your command zone. It kind of a cool, definitely a kind of cool card. This one is the one that I think will hold the most value of this particular deck. Again, $8 I think is the cap, and it's not going to be able to really be the card that sells the Commander deck. So all in all, this is just kind of, I think it's going to be very, very similar to Commander 2018. There's no reason for me to think that any of these cards are going to miraculously hit Legacy, or maybe some of them. Maybe I could be proven wrong with some of them. But for the most part, they are definitely Commander cards. And if history repeats itself, we are going to see kind of Commander 2018 prices again. And you can just reference these cards from the previous year to see where they will settle. So I think this is going to be another set that has pretty dismal, I mean, but it's been 2 in a row, so there's not like an option that people can look back on. So if you're comparing it to 2018, it seems very, very similar. I think the print numbers will probably be the exact same as 2018. And so you're probably going to be able to get this at near MSRP or lower than MSRP for quite some time. What is MSRP for these? Like $40 still for the decks. I think I get a set. So if you're a patron of mine, you get a set shipped for $110, and there's 4 decks. So that puts it about, yeah, the thing is, like, they did increase their price slightly again. I think like last year I was getting sets for, before processing fees and stuff like that, it was $92, and I think I'm up to $97. And then to ship these is quite a pain, so that's why I put 110 shipped, just to average everything out for where people are. West Coast, East Coast, it's probably going to cost me, $10, $15 to ship these type of stuff. So that's where you get the pricing. So pricing's gone up slightly for this, and value definitely hasn't gone up for the Commander from Commander 2018 to Commander 2019. So another kind of failure of a product, still better than most products that have come out recently. I mean, there have been some pretty bad fails on the part of Wizards with like the Spellslinger decks and Planeswalker decks and things like that just contain zero value in them. Comparatively, Commander still is one of the better products. Even when things get crushed, usually the worst commanders are still better than like 90% of the other like sealed product that at least the full deck products that they put out from year to year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you invest smartly. There will be some opportunity if some of these cards do go down to nothing. Even Commander 2018 had some gems in it. If you would get on at bulk rare price, what is the one that the land they put in every deck was the Forge of Heroes. I think that Forge of Heroes didn't get a reprint, and again, it's only 73-cent card, but it has been going up. This was a particular card that I bought a ton of them for 10 cents a piece, and again, it's kind of hard to make your money back, but Card Kingdom paying 20 cents is a double up on the 10 cent without I was buying off TC Player when they did completely go down to nothing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. This has been Kevin with Rogue Market. Thanks for watching.